Welcome, everybody, to the Spartan Canada podcast. We are going to do just a race recap of 2023 and talk about some exciting events and what's on the schedule for 2024. So I've got Jill on here with me as per usual tonight, and Lily's going to be joining us very soon. So we'll welcome her whenever she gets on here. So first things first, guys, I guess what's happening in 2024? I've got the dates in front of me here, so I'm gonna, just rhyme those off real fast, and then Jill's got some hot topics that we're gonna talk about. So, first things first, guys, May 11th and 12th is Brimacombe. I have
Yay.
to say, this is one of my favorite races because I like that there's a good stretch of flat, but I feel like there's like an opportunity for every athlete at Brimacombe because there's hills, there's obstacles placed like strategically throughout, and then there's flat, and then yeah. What are your thoughts on Brimacombe?
I love Brimacombe. I love that it's the season starter because, like you said, it's not too high, it's not too low, it's kind of in between, and it almost gives you a little bit of false sense of security because it's usually a really nice day there for some reason. The sun's usually shining and it's fast and then our big hills come after that. So I really enjoy that. Nick had some surprises for us last year, so that was pretty fun with the army crawl with the ski jets, the snow guns. That was pretty,
About that. Yeah,
yeah.
that was cool. Okay, I'm a fair weather Spartan girl. I know, I'm not a true Spartan. It's fine. I'm like the one that's decked out in all the Under Armour to keep warm in the middle of May. But it's fine. I embrace it just like everybody else does. I maybe complain slightly more, but it's fine. But yeah, that like trenched barbed wire, that was no joke. They had like the water squirting on us. That
Yeah,
was
and you
nuts. How long was it? Do you
Amber got to
know how
do
long?
that quite a bit because you did the hurricane heat there. That we also have a hurricane heat happening at Brimacombe. I feel like that's the only one we have for the whole season. So if you want to get in on that, you got to go right away. But that you got to do that twice with a
Yeah.
rucksack and everything.
Why not? Anyways, okay, so that's Brimacombe, guys. May 11th and 12th. Great season opener. We've got kids races, 5K, sprint, 10K, super, hurricane heat. Get signed up. Registration's already open. And that one, that's a big event. So you don't want to miss that one. It's a great one to start with. And it's pretty like central, I'd say. So you get some good numbers going out there. Um, anyways, one of my favorites. But moving into one of my second favorites, and I'm probably gonna say this about every location because I love Spartan, but after Brimacombe is Mont Tremblant. I can't say it with an accent, but I tried. June 15th and 16th. Okay, also another one of my favorite venues. I love the views and just the technicalities of Mont Tremblant just bring it a whole new like race. Like it just changes everything. But I just live for the views from the top of that mountain. So
It's so nice, and so hard. Like you said, it is crazy, crazy hard. But it's so beautiful when you get to the top. So the reward is looking at the view, and it's never a nice weekend there. So uh,
yeah.
you gotta know that. Make sure you've got your proper gear on. You've got your warm stuff and ready to change if you need to. But yeah, the views at the top, even when it's not nice, they're still gorgeous, and you're still so pumped that you got up to the top of the hill. I think that's
Yeah.
the with that one. So
Last year I remember it was like two different weather systems from one side of the mountain to the other. Like again, I'm a fair weather racer, so I was all layered up and I was like enjoying being warm on one side of the mountain and then like cold on the other. But one of my friends, Brandon, who I did the beast with, and he was in a t-shirt and he was like freezing and then he was sweating and then he was freezing and then he was sweating. So I mean, just remember, whatever you take out there with you, you got to keep on you. So dress accordingly. But Mont Tremblant was great. Very technical race. The terrain is just technical. It's rocky. You got everything you can think of. You got rocks, you got mud, you got like
and
all of it.
the first hill going up, I always remember this one. It haunts my dreams, and yet I love it so much, but it's like 1.5 kilometers, maybe even more than that. And it's basically straight up. It feels like you're going straight
Yeah.
up. But it
Yeah.
doesn't stop there either. So I know
Yeah.
that's actually Lily's first race of the season. She chose that one. She just popped on here. But
Right.
yeah, hi, Lily.
Hello.
Lily is one of our youngest Spartan ambassadors at Spartan, and she does, well, you can tell us what you do.
Yeah, so I just started Spartan kind of this year. And yeah, I've been getting into Spartans and Decas. And I'm really excited to start the 2024 season. I have lots of races planned already, both with Spartan and Deca. So yeah, I'm super excited to both start training for that and also just get back out there and do my thing.
And would
Yeah.
you
And
recommend highly that first hill climb at Tremblant being your very first race?
yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of crazy, but it was definitely a really cool introduction to the world of Spartan racing for sure.
But that first hill is so pretty. Like you're going through the forest. You're not even on a path. Like it's a path that our feet all have created that kind of turned into like a path. But it's actually so pretty going through that first ascend.
Yeah.
And I do remember like there was like sun during one of them, and I was like looking up and I was like, I just feel like I'm in like a what's the word? It's like very like whimsical almost. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like fairy tale, like I mean, Spartan is not fairy tale, like, but like the sun through the trees was very pretty, and you kind of forgot you were like struggling for a hot minute there. But
Well,
um
I think you hit it on the head though. It is fairy tale like because we tell ourselves after fairy tales about how wonderful it was. So
so Mont Tremblant is a trifecta weekend, but an ultrafecta weekend because they also have the ultra running there. So that just means you've got your ultra 50K, your beast 21, your super, which is 10, your sprint, which is 5, and we've got kids races happening. So like that is like a one-stop shop, guys. If you want to do it all, do it there. It's an amazing, amazing venue. Jill did the ultra there last year. Are you going to repeat that this year? Or?
I am going to. I'm like, now that I'm away from it, I'm so looking forward to it again. I learned tons of things doing that, and I want to see if I can do it better.
Of
Make it
course. Yeah.
easier for myself. Well, maybe not easier, but yeah, I like it's crazy. I know I heard before, and everyone says if you want to know if you'll be successful at an ultra, you should have previously run an ultra, and that kind of guarantees your success in the next one. So I know I was able to do it last time, but I have a lot more insight. So, and actually after Tremblant finishing that, it inspired me to do some other ultra races, at Tough Mudder as well. And this year is going to be the year of the ultra for me, but we'll get into that as well.
Well, I think last year we learned that Jill is quite the endurance racer, actually, because she's not just kind of good at it, guys. She was winning like a bunch of stuff in endurance races. So
Age
I
group.
won't be shocked to see you hit a couple ultras this year and hit some podiums while you're at it. So
I might not be the fastest, but I'll try to stay out there the longest.
that's a good way to look at it. Okay, after Tremblant, we're going into the West Coast in July. 20th and 21st is Red Deer. So word on the street is Red Deer is flat and fast, which is polar opposite of what we have over here in Ontario. Not a lot of flat and not a lot of fast. But if you want that, head out to Red Deer. I believe that's part of the series as well out there. Which Connor Bell's going to be online with us next week, and he's going to talk more about the series, as he's one of our Canadian series racers. So, yeah, any tips and tricks on Red Deer? Have you guys hit that one or?
I have not
No.
done that one, Lily. Have you? No.
No.
It's fast and furious, though. That's what we hear. So if you do not want to be on the hills, that is the course for you. And I hear really great things about it. They keep going back to that same place because people love it there. So
Fast and Furious, that's my jam. I need to get out there. Maybe
yes,
it'll happen this year.
you do.
Okay, next stop is staying in the West Coast, August 24th and 25th in Kelowna. Again, I haven't made it out to the West Coast personally, but I hear nothing but amazing things about Kelowna. I mean, if I think about the views at Mont Tremblant, I can only imagine the views at the top of the climb in Kelowna.
Mhm.
I think we got to get out there.
Yeah, and the thing with Kelowna is unfortunately we had to cancel races last year due to forest fires. So I think it's great that we are going to be going back there with Spartan because that is just a boost in tourism, which was a big deal. They would have lost a lot of tourism dollars last year, not just from Spartan Race. So the fact that we're going to go back there, people love the venue again. People love Kelowna. I think it's a nice thing that's going to be happening again this year. So go out to Kelowna if you can as well.
True. And I feel like it's a great spot for even US racers to cross the border. Or is that more Red Deer? I'm not geographically very smart. I feel like those US races are a little more accessible for US racers to access. And maybe they're just scared of our Canadian mountains. That could be why. Maybe that's why they don't. Anyways, okay, last stop on the Canadian race schedule is the famous Blue Mountain Race, October 19th and 20th. OMG, all I can say is I hope we get better weather this year because the beast last year was something special. That weather,
It was.
whoa. Yeah. So, I mean, you know what though? The year before that, so Blue Mountain the year prior was hot. I raced in a tank top. And then this year, it was like torrential downpour and it was so cold. So maybe we'll get lucky this year on October 19th and maybe we'll get some sunshine again. But anyways,
we had 2 years in a row when it was really sunny, so we were due for a big rainstorm. People kept saying that, so I think we willed the Spartan weather for that weekend. But that's a great one. We get a lot of local people in that race. Tons and tons of kids come out. We had a big, huge group come out of kids, so that was really fun coaching them. And I'm hoping that they'll all come back. So that's a pretty exciting.
yeah.
That's the most local race to myself. So
Yeah, we had, I think that was one of the largest numbers for kids races in Canada last year was at Blue Mountain, and my little guy raced there.
yes.
He loves that course. He did Tremblant too, but actually backtrack, we didn't talk about what races are happening in Red Deer, Super and Sprint in Kelowna, trifecta. So you're gonna get your 21, your 10, and your 5, and then Blue Mountain is a trifecta weekend. Kelowna's a trifecta weekend, right? Did I mess that up?
Kelowna is a trifecta weekend, yes.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure. Yeah. And then Blue Mountain is a trifecta weekend as well. So there's lots of opportunities, you guys, this year to get out there, get some beasts in. It's honestly, I really enjoy the beast. I don't necessarily race it. That's not my preference for a competitive race, but I just love the duration of it. Because I just enjoy being out on the hill. I enjoy doing it with friends. That's one of my more fun races. So, I mean, the distance can scare people, but really and truly, guys, you're just going on a hike for a couple of hours with some friends. So, if you're listening and you haven't tried a beast, guys, do it this year. There's lots of opportunities to get one on the schedule. Lily, have you done a beast?
No, I feel like this is my sign.
Do you feel targeted right now?
A little bit.
We can do it together as long as you don't want to race competitively because unlike your mom, I'm not the best endurance racer.
Although knowing you guys, I feel like I may get peer pressured into it.
Probably.
Probably true. If we're going to peer pressure you into something, it's going to be racing and it's going to be racing.
Yeah, probably. Well, Jill's already peer pressured me into signing up for a Tough Mudder. So
Yeah. And actually,
what's on the schedule for those this year? What's that looking like?
we also have a Tough Mudder in Toronto as well. And maybe I'll get one of you to Google the dates. It's in September. I think it's the third week of September, but I'm not 100% sure. But yes, we have a Tough Mudder, just a regular Tough Mudder event happening in Toronto as well. And
Nice.
then we have a whole bunch of DECAs as well for you to join into. And if you haven't heard of DECA, we will be doing some more episodes on DECA. We'll do more Tough Mudder throughout the season. This is kind of our first episode of the year. But yes, there will be probably a DECA, I'd say almost monthly in Canada. And last year we had a DECA Fit Roadshow, which Amber hosted through her gym. And we are all hoping to have a DECA Fit again this year. So that's not confirmed or anything. We won't go there, but hopefully cross our fingers we get DECA Fit. So there's
all I can say is it's very likely that there will be a DECA Fit in Canada this year. I can't say more than that, but it's looking extremely hopeful. So I will leave that with all of you guys. But right now, I do know for upcoming DECAs, March 23rd actually is a hot day for DECA in Canada. We've got Fit Farm in London hosting a DECA Strong, and Pure Impact Athletics in Brantford hosting both a DECA Mile and a DECA Strong. So if you guys are looking to get some scores or marks earned early in the season and just get your first A race in, get that benchmark, March is going to be a great month and opportunity to do so. And honestly, you're going to see a lot of DECAs popping up. They don't get launched, you guys, until about 6 weeks prior. So that's why we don't have more dates available to you guys right now. However, there are DECA Fit events launched all throughout the US. And I know the first one coming up is in Knoxville on March 9th. So that'll be your first opportunity for a DECA Fit in 2024. So that's kind of the schedule of events. For the most part, you guys, obviously there's lots of Tough Mudders happening throughout the US. We didn't give you guys all the dates, but you can find everything on Spartan Canada or Spartan US website. So you can search for events near you. Just get some dates on the calendar. That's the best way to just start rolling into your training.
awesome.
So now for the fun part. We have a few questions we're going to kind of go over just for fun to recap the year and looking forward into 2024. So I'm going to hand over to Jill.
Yes, because us as racers, and I know if you're listening, you probably feel the same way between December and the first Spartan race or the first Tough Mudder, we're kind of all waiting and just trying to relive all the moments. I've actually gone and watched some of the podcasts and also some of the races from last year, not going to lie, while I run on my treadmill because I don't want to go out right now, even though I will run in the winter. Since I got my treadmill, it's been a little bit less, but let's go over some of our favorite things, starting with what was your favorite venue that you were at this year? And who wants to go first?
Lily, you haven't talked much. You go first.
Okay, well, I think my favorite Spartan venue was Mont Tremblant, my first Spartan race. It was just so beautiful. The view from the top of the hill, once I finally made it up, was so cool. I felt so awesome that I just climbed that whole hill, and it was just amazing. The views were great. The atmosphere was great. And yeah, I would definitely have to say that was my favorite.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh-huh.
Tremblant was one of my favorite this year. I did the trifecta there. The view is just so worth the climb. Like, I just have to say. But mind you, I did not do Calabogie this year. And if you asked me a year ago, I would have said Calabogie because the view from the top is also super great from up there. And I did love the dunk wall was in the lake.
Yes.
So I feel like it's a loaded question because I didn't do Calabogie. So I'm going to have to go with Mont Tremblant.
And I had Tremblant and Calabogie as kind of both the same because I also did the trail for the first time, and the trail was just such a cool trail. It was very single track and lots of switchbacks, and it was all over the place. So getting to run that was really, really fun that weekend. So Calabogie.
And they're doing the trail there again this year as well. So if you're looking to get a Spartan trail racing, guys, Calabogie's where it's at. Oh, we didn't even list Calabogie in our events happening.
Did we not?
No, we didn't.
So
Oops, Calabogie's happening, guys. I missed that one.
okay.
I'm so sorry. August. It's happening in August. I don't have the exact dates off the top of my head. So sorry. Calabogie is also on the hit list for Spartan Race Canada this year.
Yes, it's actually August 3rd, 4th weekend, that one, because
Okay.
I know that because I was just looking at Airbnbs there. So awesome.
August 3rd and 4th.
Let's go with,
and that one's generally your super, your sprint, and your trail. So it's not a trifecta weekend.
yes. So that is that weekend. All right. Next question. What was your favorite race moment of the year for any of the Spartan brands?
Oh.
You start.
Oh, actually, okay. I'm gonna go with like just fun, like pure fun. Because like obviously I race very competitively in DECA. I do have some races that I race competitively with Spartan, but it is fun to just enjoy our sport sometimes. And I have to say one of my favorite moments was in Blue Mountain when we were literally just sliding down the hill because you couldn't walk down the hill. There was no other option to get down. And we were wiping out and just embracing the mud on the Sunday in the 5K. And it was just so fun. So, long story short, grab some friends, race for fun, and you'll make some good memories. That was one of my favorites.
How about you, Lily? Favorite race moment?
Um, well, first of all, I'd have to say that I agree with Amber. That was such a cool and fun thing to just be sliding down the hill in the 5K there. But one of my other favorites would probably be from DECA Worlds. Just everyone watching the elite racers go off. There would be like a huge crowd of people at the first station, and then the first or second person out of the station would go, and then the whole crowd of people would move to the second station, and it just felt so cool. Just everybody stopping what they were doing to watch these racers and everyone kind of moving together as one. It was just so cool to witness.
Yeah, and you got a
Yeah,
good vantage point being Lily did a lot of judging there. So you kind of got to see that from the outside. I was one of the people running from spot to spot going, oh my goodness, this is crazy. How is this so exciting? But it's so exciting.
It was
and
cool too, because people would be like saving spots for friends and family of the racers. So
yeah.
it was really cool team effort as well.
And from the other point of view, like when I was racing elite teams is my jam in DECA, and the energy, like you feel it like as a competitor, and like it's nuts. And I think the difference in the energy from Spartan to DECA is it's not the number of spectators, because believe me, there's a lot of people down there cheering you on when you get to the rope climb at the bottom of the hill at Tremblant. Like there's people there encouraging you the exact same way. But take that energy of that amount of people in Spartan that are spread out over like kilometers and throw them all into like 10,000 square feet, and like the energy just becomes amplified. So like that's I think what generates that different vibe is it's like you take the energy of Spartan and throw it into like four walls, and it just hits different. And actually a funny moment from DECA Worlds, just while we're talking about it, is shout out to Connor Bell, because when Kevin and I were racing for DECA Strong teams, and we were seated in first, so everybody was like right there. He was like the bodyguard. He was like, move out of the way. They're coming through for Jess and Zach so they can watch us race. Move, move. Like it's so funny. You hear him on one of the live feeds. So
That's
so
amazing.
the bodyguards are real, of the people literally like jamming in as spectators. Like as a spectator sport, you guys, DECA teams has got to be arguably one of the best.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect that too, right? Because
Yeah.
it's fitness equipment and fitness racing. So, but it is so exciting. That those are both great moments. I love those too. I'm going to go with one more because you took both of mine, and it's from the Ultra. I loved that race. After my first lap, the rope climb was at the bottom of the hill. It was almost at the end of the first lap. And when I got to the rope climb, speaking of spectators, there were a whole bunch of people cheering and shouting my name down there, and they happened to be the Tate family. It was
My dad.
your
My
dad.
dad was so proud of you. He was like, "There's Jill." That was the best.
That was awesome because it's kind of like doing that. You're not alone, but it's still like you're in this weird, like, okay, I'm going to hang out with these people for a little bit. Now I'm running and being friends, and now I'm by myself. And then you get to the bottom and you're like, I know those people.
Yes, but you know what? And I have to say that was my dad's first time ever watching a Spartan race. And shout out to him. He's like fan of the year award. He literally spent, I think, over 8 hours in that spot. And he wasn't just cheering for Jill and for me and like our people. He was cheering for everybody. Like at the end of the race, like I finished and some random person came up and was like, and actually thanked him for cheering him on because that person didn't know anybody. And from what my dad tells me, he just looked drained. Like by the time he got down, like we're talking like the rope climb at that event was within the last kilometer. And I guess my dad was just like, come on, buddy, like you can do this or whatever he said. I don't know. And that guy didn't give up because somebody cheered him on. And again, that's just like we say it all the time on this podcast. Like that's just the power of the community of people that are there, whether it was my dad or some random stranger. Like there's somebody there that's gonna cheer for you. But at Tremblant, it was the perfect timing to have a cheer squad because that last stand you needed it so bad, and that was just great. I loved that too.
When you get to the transition, you literally have to make a decision there, or you just have to pretend there's no decision there and just keep moving. But you could stop at that point. So, but that all that little stuff, it kind of breathes fresh air into it and kind of gets you restarted and you go. So that was awesome. All right, got another
one more thing about Tremblant, I'll be honest. It was kind of rude on Spartan's behalf because you get your hopes up and you're like, I can hear the festival, there's my people, I'm done. And then you turn the corner and you're like, okay, go another half kilometer up the mountain again. And you're just like, I thought I was done. So that was, you got your hopes up a little bit when you came down into like the rope climb area and you had your fans, and then you're like, okay, just see you in another half an hour.
I know, and that seemed like the longest race ever. So yes, I totally.
That last hill was awful. It was like it was slightly sloped, but it was one of the hardest.
I know. Awesome. Okay, next question. I have this one I really like, and it's basically what was the story that most inspired you in Spartan this year? Maybe it was your own, maybe it was someone else's. You heard something interesting. Go for it. Amber, why don't you start?
Okay, I have a few. I'm gonna pick a DECA one because I think you're gonna pick the same Spartan one. That would be my first pick.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with my second pick. I am very sorry I don't remember her name, but at DECA Fit in Philly, and you were there, there was a lady who, do you remember her name?
No, but I will try to tag her because I have her on Facebook, but names escape my mind, but I know who you're talking about.
Yes, it's been a long week. So it's like if you said it, I would know it immediately. Anyways, she was just the hero of DECA this year. She completed a DECA Fit. She completed her DECA trifecta. And her condition is
MS.
Multiple sclerosis. And the community that was around her at the burpees was insane. She was supported through every single rep, but it was like every rep for her was just such an accomplishment and an achievement. And it was just so inspiring to see, you know, how much fight and how much will somebody has in them. And it's in those moments right there. And that was, I cried. I don't know if there was a dry eye like in the crowd. It was incredible. Like the fight that she has in her was just insane.
There was a whole team of, I believe they were university students. They were like a team and they were there judging all day long. And they were all a group of young men. And I think they were all crying too. Like it was, that was like a magical moment. I know Lily, you were there. How did you feel about that one? Is that one of yours?
Yes, so that was actually what I was gonna say as well.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was there in Philly as well, watching the whole thing. And it was just so cool. Because often like we go to those events and we're only thinking about how we're gonna perform that day and what our goals are. So it was really cool to step back and think about why other people are doing the same sport and what their kind of goals and ambitions are, because everybody's coming to the same thing to do something completely different. And it just really opened my eyes to what you can really do in this community.
Yeah.
That
was so inspiring. I have another one, and it just happens to be a Canadian one. And that is he was on our podcast, and that is Sheldon Guy. Sheldon is a racer. He has a vision impairment, and that is a recent thing that happened to him. And he has a really cool, amazing, awesome story. He's such a nice guy. We had an amazing time on the podcast with him, but he did his first Spartan race this year and he got through it. He successfully completed it, and we're going to have him back again. I was just talking to him today, actually. So we'll have him within the next couple months back on the podcast to talk about his race with Spartans. So that was a highlight. But I have a funny story too, and this is actually an Amber story, another story of the year, and that was the story of Mr. Mark Steeds, who trains in at Pure Impact Athletics as well with Amber. Mr. Steeds was a competitive runner, but not distance runner, like just cross country, like not ultra distance, who just showed up at the ultra with his shoes and shorts and a t-shirt and just went for it.
That was basically it.
It's
I believe nothing that was told to him until after it all made sense. Oh my God, that has got to be one of the funniest stories of the year. Like, I remember I was joking, he was like the homeless racer from Brantford. Like, he just showed up and like did an ultra. And I remember him saying like, "Oh, I'm just gonna take some oatmeal." And I was like, that's not enough. Like, you realize you're climbing a mountain for like 8+ hours. And let's just say you need to go back and listen to that episode and you will get a good laugh.
It's
like
fun.
I just
You can't believe this guy did this, and he actually got through it, and he didn't have the worst time you could possibly have. And the way he tells it is quite funny too, because he's like, "Yeah, I think I did need some food." Like, not, "Oh my gosh, what a terrible experience." It was more like, "Yeah, maybe next time I'll bring some candy with me or something." While the rest of us spend pouring over what we're putting in our buckets and our packs, and he just shows up and YOLO.
Yeah, he didn't even have shoes because he didn't believe me that he needed like actual like trail shoes. So anyways, go back. He ended up buying the Spartan shoes, which are great, awesome, love those. But anyways, go back, listen to that episode. It was one of the first few. Anyways, that's a great one. Great story.
Very funny.
Funniest of the year, from inspiring to funny. You get it all here on the Spartan Canada podcast.
Yeah, and if you have ideas for us, if you have a story, please share it with us. We would love to have a guest on our podcast here. We have lots of fun doing this and meeting new racers and all of that stuff. But let's do one more question. And this one's kind of a personal one. And let's start with Lily this time. What was your personal greatest achievement in racing this year? Or it doesn't have to be racing, greatest achievement throughout this year, 2023.
Oh, that's a good one. I feel like just getting back into Spartan, I had only tried the kids race before, and so I didn't really know what the actual Spartan was about, but getting into that community as well as the DECA community has really pushed me to improve my own personal fitness. So I feel like that is really great because I feel great, and I'm like achieving so much more than I ever thought that I could fitness wise. But one of my favorite accomplishments for sure was making it to DECA Worlds. It was only my first year in the DECA community, so I was not expecting that at all, but it was such a cool experience, and being able to say that I made it there was just so cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's really cool. I love that. And you should be so proud of yourself. Like, look at what you did in just a few months, because your first time back, like really stepping back into Spartan, was in June at Tremblant Blanc.
Yeah.
So and never underestimate how much you can do.
Or anything. Like, I didn't really train or even run before that. So like everything was so new, and just the fact that I made it so far in that little of time just makes me really excited for what I can do this year when I've already been training harder and working for things.
Yeah, and that's
it's exciting.
That's basically Joe's goal with Spartan racing in general, not just Spartan Canada, is to get people training and get people becoming resilient and, getting people off the couch. So it works every time. You just got to put a race on that
Mhm.
calendar.
It's
Absolutely.
true.
All right, Amber, I know you had some accomplishments this year. There's lots of really great ones, but I want to hear which one you believe is your greatest accomplishment of the year.
Oh man. I feel like all of them kind of combined make for my biggest accomplishment. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, like world champion title, co-ed teams, it's cool. It's glamorous. It's fun. Like Kevin and I like threw down hard to get that one. We broke the ski erg. Like we fought for that one. Um, but even just like qualifying into the top 20 elite for the strong, I was registered. However, I did not actually end up racing at Worlds that day for various reasons. Um, Even that alone was just like such a massive accomplishment in what I thought. But then, um, podium with Karen. Like there was just so many. Like we were one of only a few teams, Karen and I, to go sub 30 on the deck of fit together on the females. Like, but all those moments combined are all super, super cool. But I feel like my favorite highlight of them all is just the growth from where I was a year prior to that. And all of those things just seemed like a goal at the time. And then, when you put in the work and it becomes a reality, it's really, you look back and you're like, wow, I just did all that in a year. So, I mean, the titles are cool, but I think my favorite part is just the growth that went into it, and that came along with it all. And don't get me wrong, like, yeah, like the medals and the bling and all that, that's fun and stuff, but I'm not the same athlete I was a year ago, and that's exciting. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that ends up inspiring other people too, because you've gotten a lot of people through your achievements to now want to get into DECA as well and get into Spartan and all of those things. So when you are posting these things, and even for Lily, like people are watching and wanting to do that. And so there's that part
Mhm.
of it too in your journey. So that's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
And I totally understand how you feel about that as well. Like it's not necessarily, there's a few things, right, that make it. I think that's the same for me.
Yeah.
I would say for me, maybe it would be the ultra that I did in Tremblant, but then using that to go, oh yeah, I could do world's, or not world's toughest. I could do toughest, which is the 12-hour overnight. So let's sign up for that. And then finishing that one and going, do I sign up for world's toughest in 2024? And so now I'm pretty convinced that I'll be doing that one. So for me, it was probably just starting that ultra journey.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think what's really cool is like collectively all of us have the similarity is that, we just continue to redefine our limits through Spartan and through DECA. Like I hit podium earlier the year in Brimacombe, and that was like a
Yeah.
big shocker to me, like, and it really catapults you into, the more you learn how much you're capable of, you become more confident in life and all of that. And that's like got to be the best part about all of these cool moments
Yeah.
throughout, like, you know?
Exactly. And I really enjoy helping getting new people to try it, because I've
Mhm.
never had someone come and not be happy and not have an experience.
Mhm.
Yes, maybe it's brutal, the weather's awful, but like we went through something together, and how cool was that? We can do that. We can do hard things. So I love
Yes.
that. I love that with kids. And that's probably a great way to wrap up our evening. You
Yeah.
need to get off the couch if you're not already, and come with us. Reach out to any one of us. We're all ambassadors for Spartan Race Canada, and we would love to get you started. And if you're already in our community, amazing. We can't wait to see you in 2024. Do any of you two have any wrap up ideas or wrap up things for tonight?
Honestly, I think we've said it all on here tonight, guys. So we'll see you in May at Brimacombe.